Hello and welcome to another edition of the Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he's JP's first son, Tim Howie. Oh, we have another great show for you tonight. So, boys, let's get it started. All right, there's no bragging going on here. All of us predicted that the Celtics would win. Russ said Celtics in seven. Joe, what'd you have?
I forget. I usually second the professor's.
Okay, when you need to grow in a personality. And then Timmy, what did you have?
I had the Celtics in 6.
Okay, I had the Celtics in 5. Look, I thought the Celtics would sweep them. I seriously did. They didn't sweep them clearly. They played 3-4 games, but I'm going to be right. They're going to end up sweeping them. The Heat suck. They do have a great coach, but the Heat are terrible. If we figure out how to defend Jimmy Butler, even the very little bit, we'll win tomorrow. They'll choke shit the Heat on 6, and we win in 7, and the greatest comeback in the history of the NBA. Tell me where I'm wrong here, Russell.
2 words: Eric Spoelstra. Well,
Right.
Add another 3 words versus Joe Mazzulla. Look. Can they do it? Yes, I read this long piece today. Statistically speaking, they have probably like a 29% chance of still winning the series, which is actually pretty significant, right? But Spoelstra is going to do something to counteract whatever Maz did and whatever the Celtics did yesterday. And I just think, we have zero margin for error. When you have absolutely zero margin for error, unless you have Tom Brady as your quarterback, you're going to lose.
Joe, talent. The Celtics are more talented than the Heat. Would you agree?
Oh, by far, except in the coaching, as previously mentioned, Spoelstra has a way of dictating the pace of the game. Whenever the Celtics want to run, he calls timeout and puts the zone in there, and everything stops and they go into the slowdown. He controls the game. He's the one calling the tune.
All right, Timmy. Look, we can talk about coaching all we want. The Celtics are an experienced team. They don't need Mazzulla walking them through the whole game. Talent should win. They're at home tomorrow. They have no excuses.
I'm going to tell you the way out of this. One game at a time. If they can go into this game like no other game exists, just this game. I mean, this is a team, and I want to bash them because they've put themselves in this position. But this is a team, we've seen them with their back up against the wall many, many times. And if any matchup this could happen with, Spoelstra is a huge, huge variable. If he takes Spoelstra out of the mix, I'm a lot more optimistic. If they can just go, okay, no game matters except for the next game, all in there.
Obviously, they understand that. But I mean, needless to say,
the odds are against us. Like was previously mentioned, they can afford no mistakes.
Turn left on Adams Street.
I mean, the odds don't look good, guys. It is what it is.
Look. Fact is that Russ, they never saw a zone before. All of a sudden, Spoelstra does a zone, and
they've always had some.
Understand what have they not seen that Eric Spoelstra comes up in his laboratory? I don't understand.
Let me give you one reason to believe and one reason not to believe. The Celtics defense in elimination games has been terrific. And this goes back. They tend to play very, very good defense in elimination games. And as we know, there's 2 ways there's 2 reasons when Celtics win when they win. They play good defense and they hit threes.
Yeah.
Right. And their defense in elimination games has been really good. It's very consistent. That the same as last night. But here's the problem. Like, we can sit here and say Maz made adjustments and Tatum came through and blah, 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 all the way down the line. Grant Williams. Fact is, they shot like over 40% they hit their threes last night. Yeah. And if they hit 40% of their threes tomorrow night, they'll win that game. If they hit 40% of their threes in game 6, they're going to win that game. If they hit 40% of their threes in game 7, they're going to win that game. But the question is, what's the likelihood of them having 3 straight games where they hit 40% of their threes?
I know, but they played much better. The second half is what we're hoping for the rest of the series. And he turned it over. He looked disorganized. He at some point looked disinterested. And all of a sudden, Caleb Martin may be out tomorrow. All of a sudden, not Martin, no, the other guy who's
Vincent.
Gabe Vincent may be out tomorrow. All of a sudden, they have very little depth, Joe. And you start going down the line, and more than happy to have Duncan Robinson in there.
Yeah, Vincent, Duncan Robinson, Strus, they're all undrafted guys. They're all guys off the scrap heap. And somehow they got them playing very well, matching up great against the Celtics' vaunted talent.
Timmy,
on paper, what someone like the Celtics were 97% favorite to win this series.
They were. That was ridiculous, but they were at the beginning of it. But Timmy, you talk about the back of the baseball card. Look, all of a sudden, guys like Vincent, and Martin are going to go back to the back of their baseball card, and their production will drop. It dropped yesterday. It will drop the rest of this series. Guys like Brogdon, who've been terrible, he'll go back to his baseball card, and play much better. We saw that last night with Al Horford.
It was previously mentioned here. We are so dependent on the 3 dropping. Any variation from that, I mean, this team is so susceptible to defeat.
It's not true, but that's not true. I mean,
it is true. It's 100% true.
Watch the Hawks series.
Their record when they shoot more than over 40%, they've lost like 1 game this year, right?
Okay, shoot over 40%, but I'm talking about the amount of shots. If you notice, when were they most effective against the Hawks? When they went inside shooting 2 points.
Yeah, but that's when, if they go inside, that is exactly when Spoelstra calls a timeout and puts the zone in there, so they can't go inside. Then they're forced to shoot threes. They got to hit those threes.
And the other thing is, it's not just when the Celtics don't shoot well from free. It's not just that, hey, they didn't make the shot, as we've all seen. And this is the thing that drives me crazy about this team, is when they don't hit shots, they play bad defense.
That's true, yeah.
Low, right? They don't go after loose balls. It affects their whole game. So, Scotty, I agree. Like, yeah, you can try to pound the ball inside and everything, but I don't know. Like, look, 20 to 30% is actually a decent probability. Like, I don't think it's impossible. So let me ask you guys a question. Do you think they'll win tomorrow night?
Yes.
I think they're going to win tomorrow night.
Yeah.
They've been terrible at home, but
I know, but that's bound to break.
They haven't had their back against the wall either.
They haven't had their back against the wall. They'll play better defense. I think they'll win that. The big question is game 6, right? Like, game 6 to me is pretty much everything at this point.
Yes, that's a series, because if they win game 6, Celtics are winning game 7. They're out.
I mean, I would bet if the Celtics go back to Boston 3-3, it'd be hard for me to bet against them at that point in time, because they will have proven over the course of 3 games that they play well in elimination games, right? Like,
yeah.
Timmy, and Miami would be so tight that they would be squeaking.
That's what I was just going to thank you, Joe. I was going to ask Timmy that. Timmy, if the Celtics win tomorrow night, to me, all the pressure is on the Heat game 6.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a confidence thing. We've seen this team, they once they get rolling, they're the best there is in the league, I think. I think the Celtics at their peak performance can't be beat in this league right now.
Well, Denver's tough. I've watched
but that you said it, Timmy. Like, they're front runners, right? When they're rolling, like that game 7 of Philly, where they got rolling and their offense started working, and you had guys. Tatum was like literally dancing around the court, carefree, light-footed. You remember he was taking step backs on Embiid. It was as if Embiid had never played basketball a day in his life, right? That same team misses 3 straight shots in the third quarter, and they get tighter. Like they're squeezing diamonds out of their ass. That's how tight they are.
They start sulking and they don't get back on defense.
Oh, it's awful.
Look, in the Eastern Conference Finals, they have the ability to run off 18 straight points. I mean, against the team.
The ability's there. No one's arguing with you on the ability, Scotty. None of us are arguing with you on the ability that they have a better that they're a better team than the Heat. But I'm sorry, 3 out of the 4 games, they've really gotten soundly beaten.
No, there are moments. There are moments.
Game
when
3, they got stomped.
Yeah,
No,
there are
game 2,
moments.
we're up by what 9 points with 6 minutes left.
But it wasn't even really close in the end. Like we didn't even really I don't know. I just sort of think like they beat us basically straight up 3 games.
Last night was the first night of the 4 games that Jason Tatum scored a basket in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
He hadn't scored a basket in 4 games in the fourth quarter.
That's unbelievable. That can't be believed. I mean, how is that possible with your star player to literally not show up? And he played during these
Head cases.
Yes.
Is he the most Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde player we've seen?
Yeah, there are times when he
is very drifty.
3 straight turnovers where it looks like at times he doesn't even know how to play basketball. He really is like some 8th grader. He
really doesn't like it when they change up the defense on him all of a sudden. He gets thrown very easily.
I mean, the first 3 quarters of Game 6 against Philly, I mean, have you seen a worse performance by really anybody ever in a basketball game?
He's done a number of times. He's put up stinkers in the first half. Joe, why don't you tell us your theory about that? Because you're my uncle, and
I think like most people in the world suffers from some forms of anxiety, and I think he kind of self-medicates, and sometimes he overdoes it, and he gets a little
high. Right?
Yeah. Well, I would venture to say 90% of the NBA has a little reefer before a game.
Should we leave a few nips of cognac on the bench for our friend Jason? What do you think?
What's that?
Should we leave a few nips of cognac for Jason on the bench?
Yeah,
how about the fact that
little Hennessy?
How about the fact that A-Rod and Jeter were there last night, sitting in the seats on a 3-1?
That made it all the better,
That's
crazy. Brought us back to 2004.
That's crazy. I mean, it's so random.
I mean, the first phone call the Celtics made after that game last night was to David Ortiz, right? Like, he's going to be sitting in the front row of the garden.
With Mariano Rivera sitting next to him.
You have to have Kevin Millar there.
Oh, man, you bring it Dave fucking Roberts back, man. Like, your game.
I have 2 tickets to the game. I have no clue. Do I want to be there and risk watching them lose? I have no.
Want to be.
You haven't had a good record, Tim.
No, I haven't. And there's nothing worse.
Sell the tickets. If they make Game 7, we'll consider that. But don't go to Monday.
Oh, we consider you got to go to Game 7.
I don't know, because my philosophy is if they win, there'll be more games, right? If they lose, I want nothing to do with being there.
Timmy, you're such a legend. You're such a legend in my house.
The Boston teams have destroyed me mentally.
You're such a legend in my house. I said we won the game. First thing Agent said was, "Do you think Timmy watched any of it?" I was like, I don't think he did. No,
I watched maybe.
The laundry is done for the whole neighborhood.
Yeah, right. He's opened his little laundromat.
Maybe 3 minutes of it I watched.
And then Russ gives up on the team. You gave up after 5 minutes.
What I did, I turned it on and I happened to see the 3 turnovers you referenced by Tatum. And I'm like, I'm not doing this, but I knew I'd come back. I just needed to reset the table. So I came back. I came back at halftime.
It's so hard. It's so hard to watch when things are going bad.
Yeah, I always like to reset myself. I change the channel, give myself 5 minutes and see if things have improved. Come back.
Watch a little I Love Lucy or
anything.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Look, it's, to be honest with you, I mean, obviously we're great fans and stuff, but it's really painful to watch these games. No fun at all.
It's like sitting through like having all of your teeth taken out at once.
I know. I know. Look, the blame game, no matter if they lose game 5 or game 7, it's going to Missoula. I mean, they'll be spread out a little bit. But again, we're Boston sports fans, and we always blame our coaches, our head coaches, our managers, way before we ever get to the players.
I'll
We
tell you what,
do that.
the national media is lambasting Missoula.
Well, he's deserving of it. Deserving in a sense. I understand the situation, Russ, that he was put in. In fact, I heard last night he wasn't even the first row of the assistant coaches.
No, it's in the second row.
Second row of assistant coaches.
Yeah.
So he's been put in a situation. But nevertheless, he's the head coach. He's in the position. He's the guy that has to make the decisions. And
Absolutely.
he's worthy of criticism.
Oh, 100%. He absolutely, look, he's getting paid like a head coach. He got the interim tag removed. You have to judge him as a head coach, as a playoff coach. And as a playoff coach, he's been a disaster.
Yeah.
Right.
I haven't seen such anger at the coach since the days of Grady Little and Claude with the Bruins.
Yeah, no, that's a great comparison. Yeah, I would consider it the Grady Little, where I mean we drove him out. I mean, he had a good.
He was demanded. Red Sox fans would never have allowed him to manage another game.
And he was pretty well liked before that game. Would you agree?
Do we go back to this? Do you go back to the Celtics say, because we have a nice window here with this group, guys. Do we go back to the Celtics say, I know that they hate turnover and it's an awful sign of instability in an organization. Do you say, we had to, it was almost a shotgun wedding with Missoula, being picked as the coach. Do you say, we don't want to show instability with the program, so we're going to stick with them? Or do you say, okay, we have a 4 or 5 year window with Brown and Tatum and the rest of the cast. It's Smart. I'm going to put Smart in that group too. Do we hit the reset button and bring a new experienced coach in here that we really have time to vet and look over? I mean,
yes, that's a great question.
I can see both points,
Well, the CBA, the ridiculous CBA that the players signed, really kind of screws over big market teams moving forward. So you're not going to see, we talk about trading Marcus and blah, blah, blah. You're not going to see any player movement because you move these guys, you're not going to be able to get anybody back with as far as the contracts and stuff. So it's going to be the same cast is going to be run back again.
Which I'm fine with.
You'll be able to make some marginal, things at the margins. But I think it's about 60% likely. If they lose in game 5, I think it's about 60% likely he'll be fired. And that's mainly because of the owners. I don't think the owners are happy from what we've been reading. I think there's a 40% chance that he's back and some very veteran, coach is sitting next to him on the bench next year. And that's how they'll try to pull Maz up from the bootstraps.
Yeah, but I agree with you, but
well, I think their first choice would have been Hardy, but Danny had scooped him just like the week before.
Yep.
Now, do you think we're sitting in the same position if Udoka is still here?
No, I think we won those other series earlier, and we're probably up like 3-2 in this series, something like that. Like I don't think it's. I think he's probably worth 2 games, Timmy. Overall.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. You make a great point that we get out of the other series earlier. Look, Will Hardy, I just want to address that for a second. The same inexperienced rookie coach. We can't expect that Will Hardy would have done any better job, Joe, than Missoula did.
I agree. I agree. It's just that I think he was Brad's first choice.
But the fans are not going to allow Paul Silas's son to come in and say, this is the coach whisperer. Russ, we're going to need some level of a pretty big name to come in.
Like a real senior guy. And, and then the obvious thing will be if you put Frank Vogel on the Celtics bench next year, and they start off 500, isn't there a sword hanging over Maz's head from the first game of the year?
Yeah,
That's so be it. Too bad. Like that's the career you've
yeah,
chosen.
but with a guy like Vogel or Nurse or Budenholzer, they're not going to be an assistant coach. It doesn't matter how much you pay
Well,
them.
Vogel might if he didn't
Yeah,
get a
Vogel.
job.
He
Tim,
was
he's
here
still-
before. Vogel was assistant coach here.
Yeah, he was here before. Yeah.
What's the keys to tomorrow's game?
Hit the threes.
And play defense. They've been giving up a ridiculous amount of points to the Miami Heat, who are in the lower third of
Offensively challenged team.
offensive teams in the NBA this year, and they've been giving up 120 defensive rating every night. Like you give up under 100 points and you hit 35 to 40% of your threes, you're going to win the game. Like that's
They've
just it's simple.
They've had some of the most horrendous quarters in the history of the Celtics defensively.
That third quarter the
Jimmy
other
Butler
night.
thing. Jimmy Butler goes to a particular spot about 11 feet from the basket every time he gets his spot. Why do you not double team him? And that was
It started doing that last night, right? And it worked. So
But the other stiffs beat you. If they beat you, great. Here's the trophy.
right. Caleb Martin goes for 28 points tomorrow night, and he hits 7 3-pointers. That's like when Grant Williams single-handedly beat the freaking Milwaukee Bucks last year in Game 7. Don't forget, like that stuff happens.
Yeah,
Right.
We can't do anything about it. But Jimmy Butler, if you don't double team him, will beat you. That is 100% guaranteed.
That's right.
That's a proven fact.
Yeah. Look, all of a sudden, Al came from the depths of despair. And I thought that was very smart early, getting him going. He shot the first shot of the game. He hit it. Next thing you know, he played really well. If Al Horford, remember, they're not big. They're not a big team. Al Horford can play well tomorrow. Don't you think that's really puts them over the top if everybody else plays pretty normal?
Yeah. I think he just hit I think he hit a shooting slump, and the Celtics hit a playing slump, right?
The guards are
Yeah,
shooting.
as soon as he told that reporter that he was an elite shooter, he stopped being able to shoot.
Well, our guards are shooting 18% from three. I mean, going into the game last night.
Yeah, well, I don't know what happened to Malcolm Brogdon. He looks like he can't even play basketball anymore.
Well, he had his minutes managed very closely during the year, and now they're playing every other night, and he's playing big minutes. So he's going to have to find the fountain of youth, right?
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah. But look, if the Celtics were on a 3-game losing streak and then they won the game, you probably hear on the show going, well, they'll probably at least run off 4 or 5.
Let's hope so. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
As this series goes on, Heat wear out more than the Celtics. Would you agree? Because Butler's playing big minutes. They depend on a short bench.
I think Tatum's going to play 48 minutes tomorrow night. Is my guess.
I thought Bam was a non-entity yesterday. I didn't feel
He's a
Bam.
funny guy. He's as inconsistent as Tatum is, especially offensively. There's nights he just doesn't shoot the ball.
Look, bottom line is, if we're a month from now, we've been eliminated by the Heat, we're gonna I can't fucking believe we lost to the Miami Heat.
That's what the Milwaukee Bucks are saying too. So
No, but they had. I mean, Giannis was
Bucks
hurt.
weren't injured. No one was injured. Everyone was healthy.
No, I thought Giannis was hurt.
No.
Yeah, he was.
Oh. What?
Giannis missed a game.
He missed.
He missed one game, and he was.
They lost the game he played. The games he played. Like, I mean, it wasn't. They didn't lose that series because Giannis was hurt. Like the Heat beat the Bucks. They hit 43% of their 3-pointers in that series.
Yeah.
Like some crazy number.
I think they kind of figured out. I'm not jinxing it, but Kyle Lowry always scares me, Timmy. But I felt like they kind of figured him out in the last couple of games. Just keep him off the 3-point line, and he's so small and fat. He doesn't know what to do once he gets.
He's a turnover machine if you put the pressure on him.
Scotty, I admire your optimism. I really do. It's very. I wish I had your level of optimism. You're a good man.
No, look, this team.
One game.
Look, wait, we can talk about.
Win one game. Right?
I just want to talk about second. We're not going to leave the Celtics, but our Boston Red Sox, you would talk about clutch, and we don't ever talk about this. Our Boston Red Sox in the last 19 years have been to 4 World Series. How did we do during those? Every freaking time we won. Every time we were clutch. So we're talking about the clutchest team in Boston in the last 20 years is not the Patriots. It's the Boston Red Sox. The Celtics need to get some of that. Since 1986, we've only seen 1 championship. If to think that a team like this would get possibly broken up and have no championships with the talent level that they have would be a crime and one of the worst things that happened in our Boston sports life.
Oh, it'd be a tremendous waste of talent.
Especially the team that we have this year should win the title.
Yeah.
Can we just has anybody seen Denver play? Like Denver's been basically the best team in the NBA all year, right?
Oh no, yeah.
And since the Joker didn't get the MVP, he has been on fire.
Right.
Triple doubles
really
in
good.
every half.
Right.
They're very tough.
We talked about the depth the Celtics had all year, right? Does that just get tossed out the window in the playoffs? Because what do we go?
A lot of it does.
We go 8 deep, right? After that, it's like, who cares who's at the end of the bench?
Ask the Bruins.
You can't. These guys get played off the floor, Timmy. You watch what happens when Mike Muscala, or even Pritchard comes in the game and they go right at him.
They go right at him.
They're hunting them.
They can't hang. They can't hang off. On both the defensive end and the offensive end. And when you're moving Tatum's minutes from 39 a game to 47 a game, 45 a game, those minutes aren't available to those other guys.
Boy, Pritchard's really been exposed for his defense, huh?
It's terrible defensively against bigger guys.
Well, Joe, you always talk about stealing minutes. You just can't steal minutes in these kind of.
Oh no, that's why in the playoffs, so the rotation gets much shorter. I mean, you can't go 10, 11 deep. Now you're doing 8.
Every time Tatum comes out of the game, they start playing zone, and the Celtics can't do anything about it because they don't have anybody can bust a zone without Brogdon. If Brogdon plays better, he can bust a zone. But what's Maz should basically tomorrow night
go small.
Jason Tatum should play, if it's a close game, 48 minutes. I'm sorry, that's what he should do. That's
what Butler does.
Yeah,
and that's what Jokic does. Yeah. Jokic is a huge man.
Yeah. So you can't, if Grant plays well, put him in there, leave him in there like he played well the other night, but you're not gifting minutes to anybody at this point. You're saying who's going to help us win this friggin' basketball game?
Yeah, I've watched all the Denver Lakers series, and Denver has everything. They've got size, they got strength, they got speed. It would be a very difficult matchup in the 7-game series, and they can come back from 15 points in a flash.
Yep, that guy is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they would defend him, but unfortunately, and I know Russ, Joe Mazzulla is not the guy for the job to figure out how to contend with the Denver Nuggets.
Wait, do we think Jokic is more unstoppable than Giannis was last year?
They're different players.
Yeah, it's a totally different game.
Yeah, offensively, he's so much more versatile, right?
Well, Jokic takes what's given to him offensively. He likes to pass a lot. He's just an overall game is far greater than Giannis. Giannis is just a force of nature. They're just completely different. But Jokic just doesn't make a mistake.
Yeah, if you stop Jokic, he gets an assist. Simple as that.
Has got a lot of Larry Bird in him. He's one of those guys who makes everybody else on the team better.
Yeah,
a lot better too.
Yeah.
It's not a very good team to begin with.
And I love Murray, though. He screwed me on a bet on a parlay last game. We had him hitting three pointers. He hit 0.
Well, he's a 2-point shooter. He's like Jimmy Butler. He likes the 2-point. He likes that mid range.
And then Aaron Gordon all of a sudden is playing really well. I don't even know who. We don't even have anyone on the team to stop him.
Yeah, it would be tough.
Yeah, but we'll put the cart before the horse. Let's just get through this series, which we will, and we'll win in 7.
One game.
Well, there's no other way to look at it because one game, if they lose, they're out.
Yep.
But the pressure, I would say, turns to the Celtics if you get to game 7. Would you agree?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
No, talk about tight sphincters.
Yeah.
They're gonna be walking into the they're gonna be walking into the Garden just as tight can be if they get to game 7. But you know,
Thank
That
God,
would be-
thank God I don't have tickets for that game because that would be a tough decision.
That would be an incredible. Are you kidding me, Timmy? That would be an incredible environment. I know the Celtics fans would really be amped if we actually
I
got.
would, I
Oh,
would be
with
I
a
would be one of
3-game
those-
winning streak, and yeah, that
I would need a
place-
medical assistant standing by me with a teaspoon.
well, we've already had a game 7 at home against.
Oh, maybe
Philly, right?
the Celtics would put a laundry machine in there for you to.
No, but this was different, Russ. This would be completely different. I mean, this would
Well,
be
coming back from
historic.
coming back from that deficit for sure, and it's the Eastern Conference Finals. But
Oh.
we had game 7 last year against the Bucks was in the Garden too, and we came back down from 3-2. So I mean, this we've seen it before. It's going to be bananas.
Oh, I just want that so bad. Oh my God. All right, boys,
Long
we're
way
gonna
to
go to the New England Patriots. Needless to say, boys, it's all Mac Jones. Bill O'Brien's talked. Mac Jones is the quarterback. Can Bill O'Brien get the best out of Mac Jones? I mean, we're talking about coaching with Missoula. Now let's go to the other end. Bill O'Brien's a legitimate offensive mind. Can he bring out the best in Mac Jones? And what does that look like?
Well, they come from, they do have, a similar background where they both, Mac played at Alabama, Bill coached at Alabama, Bill coached with the Patriots, Mac plays for the Patriots. They do have some similarities. They should be able to be compatible. So look at it that way.
Timmy, do we see a different Mac Jones all of a sudden? In which, I mean, does coaching make that much of a difference?
I pray because I'll vomit if I have to watch last year's Mac Jones out there again. I mean, I was disgusted that he was a Patriot last year. Disgusted.
I mean, I don't know if it was that bad, but I understand your point.
Wasn't good.
No, but he gave an effort. I mean, I can understand if you're discussing the guy's not giving all his.
Did you see him try to take that tackle?
I know you talked
That
about
was
that
no
already.
effort. There was no effort. That was Tony Eason on his worst day.
You
I
took
know
the
that.
words right out of my mouth. It's shades of Tony Easton all over again.
Joe's going to be talking about that for 20 years.
That was the
Buddy.
most disgraceful performance on a football field by
Buddy.
anyone anywhere.
The answer to your question is yes. Bill O'Brien will make a difference. I feel about Mac Jones. I was probably his biggest critic out of the 4 of us last year.
Yeah.
And I'm probably his biggest booster this year. I think it's going to be night and day. He'll be looking a lot more like the quarterback who played well in his rookie year games. That's what I believe.
Well, physically, I want to see a different body type too. I want to see a guy after, this is his 3rd NFL training camp. I want to see a guy who's stronger. And
Well,
that's
I think Scotty. I think what he shows up looking like is going to say a lot to say about how seriously he takes this whole thing.
yeah, I agree with you
Well,
wholeheartedly.
maybe this is the year he takes that big second-year jump that he didn't take last year.
Yeah, he shows up looking like the Pillsbury Doughboy. I mean, just wave the.
And
I
what
know,
if
I think
what if they trade for Devontae coming from the Raiders? Now that would be his Randy Moss
But
too.
where'd you hear that?
The best. They have to trade him. He wants out. He hates Josh.
Wow. What would you give up for him?
He says the offense and him that we don't get along.
But Joe, isn't the biggest thing with Mac next year his ability to do what he did his first year, which is, get the play in the huddle,
Advantage.
get up to the line of scrimmage, be able to change the play, work with David Andrews on changing up the blocking assignments, get the team into the right play and execute it. Like that's what he did well his first year. And then dumbass fat boy Matt Patricia took all of that off the table last year and said, you have to run the play I call in the huddle. Why?
And I think Mac Jones plays with pace. I think he absolutely.
What's going on?
Yeah, he's a guy who can do a hurry up offense.
Yeah.
A couple series a game.
Yeah, but the hurry up screws your defense too. If he goes 3 and out in a hurry up, they barely got a breather on the sideline. And they're
Well,
right
no, I'm
back
not
in.
talking about doing it all the time, Joe. But I mean, if he's
You can only do it. Even Tom Brady would only do it once a game,
no, I'm right. But Tom Brady was,
and he was the master of it.
we can't compare him with Tom Brady.
Oh, I know, but you
anyone.
really you have to limit that. That is really a tough.
No.
They have enough 3 and outs as it is, and if you throw a hurry up in there, that defense is out there for 50 minutes of the 60.
Yeah,
Well-
the biggest thing he has to change is he folds up like a Barbie doll the second there's any pressure on him, which the statistics prove. You know what I mean? This guy does not do well under pressure at all.
Well, they got him some nice interior. Whether these draft picks work out or not, they got to teach him to step up into the pocket. No
Yeah.
more retreating. Step up, and everything will be good. Look at Bailey Zappi, looked like tremendous. Won a couple games because he would step up into the pocket. Mac is a better quarterback, and if he will do that, he will be successful.
Well, the NFL came up with a great rule that they should have done 100 years ago, and then they screw it up a few days later. First rule is they have a third quarterback that can be used during the game, an emergency quarterback that does not have, he has to be on the 53-man, but does not have to be on the 45-man game day roster. And if the two quarterbacks get hurt, he can be activated. Finally, they did that. Why did they wait so long?
Because of the playoff there with San Francisco.
No, but why did look? There's been issues with this in the past too. Why would they have waited like that?
But it does give Malik Cunningham a guarantee he makes this team, don't you think?
Great, no question. Yes, you would think that. Yes, if he shows anything, that you would assume, Russ, right?
Oh, I think he's going to be like the H-back. He's going to be that kind of guy, but he'll be the emergency quarterback too.
Russ, I'm not immediately putting him on the roster because we gave him $200,000.
Right, Joe, can he play? Here's the thing though, I think there's some rules about how many plays this emergency quarterback can play unless the other quarterbacks are injured.
Well, no, it makes no difference. The other quarterbacks have to be injured or thrown out of the game.
Yes,
They
right.
can't be replaced by the coach. Let's say Mac's not playing well and they put Bailey Zappi in. That doesn't count.
And they
Yeah.
play as many plays as they want in another
Yes.
position?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Right.
Sort of like going back years ago, Tom Maddie, when Johnny Unitas and Gary Quazzo got hurt in the playoff game, and Tom Maddie, the tight end, fullback, ended up being the quarterback for 2 playoff games.
That's why we have Uncle Joe for that 1950s,
Yep.
60s history. I was just going to say that, Joe. Great, very good one. Look, the Patriots were the worst team, Timmy, in the red zone. I do believe 32nd in the red zone. A guy like Malik Cunningham, you could run some special plays for him, might help you in the red zone, right?
Maybe, but do you take your starting quarterback out in the red zone?
No,
No.
he would be like an H-back, Tim. Like Hernandez used to be. You could line him up in line as a tight end, or you could set him back.
Oh,
Or you
think?
could
Oh, really?
split him
Scotty,
out.
are you referencing Scotty? Are you referencing bringing him as the quarterback?
Yes,
No.
like a Taysom or like
You can't
a
do it.
Oh,
Scotty,
Taysom
bring
Hill,
him
that's
in.
interesting.
What's
Yeah,
that?
I don't think they can bring him in as the emergency quarterback to play quarterback before it's an emergency in a game.
No, I'm not even saying. Oh, wait.
Oh no, Scotty's saying just use him during the game anyways.
When he's in
I
on
don't
the
think
40,
they can.
As a quarterback.
We'd have to check the rules, but
He'd have to be on the 45 man.
yeah, if it was on the 45, he could do it.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. He's on the 45-man roster.
Yeah.
Because they run that. What were they?
Yeah.
what's
But they're gonna want it that way. You can dress 46 guys. If you make him the emergency,
right.
you can dress 45 and him.
Yeah. And then, all right, so that was a good rule. I know it was reactive, but the NFL's always been pretty good about reacting to and making adjustments rule.
What do you think about that other rule now?
That's
that
what
they
we're
could
going to
just-
talk about, Joe. Hold on a
Oh.
second. Then yesterday it was actually really confusing. So you can now fair catch a kickoff at any spot in the field, and it gets brought to the 25. So you don't have to do it in the end zone anymore. So basically you can catch the ball the 3-yard line and just fair catch and it goes to 25.
Well, that eliminates. Remember, Belichick was the one who started kicking it to the 1-yard line all the time.
to make them bring it out and always getting a bit like the 17.
So my question for you is, does that include if the ball is, will these field goal kickers now be grounding the ball with the idea of hitting the ball so it hits the ground first, and then you wouldn't be able to fair catch that?
Oh, Scotty, I think the point is to kick everyone out of the end zone now and stop the possible injuries on that play.
They just don't want kickoff returns. So you probably won't. It'll always be a fair catch out to the 25.
Why don't they just eliminate
Unless you're
that play?
behind, unless you're behind by 2 scores, then that's the only time you'll start returning
Why
punt.
don't they just eliminate the play altogether?
That's what they should do. This is all like moving in that direction, right? Like this
Yeah.
is
Pretty much,
a,
But it was always the most exciting play in all of football, right?
but it's not anymore. They've taken in everything out of it,
Yeah,
Joe.
yeah.
It's not that exciting anymore, and it's
This
just
will help the
stupid
Patriots,
waste
right?
of
How many
time.
kicks got returned against us last year?
3.
Two against the Bills that they lost that game. So does Bill Belichick? I mean, we need Matthew Slater anymore?
Yeah, great question.
All these special teamers he drafted this year, right?
Yep.
Chris Board, he's gave Board a lot of money. He's got Schooler or whatever. He's got Mitchell. He's got like half the team.
Well,
plays
I
special-
think that's why they were one of the few teams that voted against that rule.
So I don't understand what they're going to do. I mean,
It won't, special kicking teams aren't as valuable anymore.
we don't need Matthew Slater anymore. So can you see him being forced to retire now?
Yeah,
Sure.
he's a player coach as it is, I think.
37 years old. So yeah, absolutely.
So, but it kind of puts the Patriots at a disadvantage, right, this season, because they acquired all these guys to play with special teams, and there's
That's
no.
on our coach. That's our
Yeah.
coach's fault, right?
Yeah.
He can only blame himself for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and he should have known those rule changes were on the docket. I'm sure that was available before.
Well, Andy Reid complained about it today and said it was ridiculous, but they voted for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay, so it's like, oh my.
Yeah, well, Ian, the coaches don't get to vote on that.
You know, I wonder if they looked at all the CTE going around and looking at all the high-speed collisions on those kickoffs and said,
Yeah.
let's get this out of here.
Oh, statistically, there are more concussions on kick returns than any other play in football.
They estimate there'll be 15% less concussions because of this. I don't care. Just eliminate the kickoff. Let's just go. Let's just start the series. This is just.
Well,
I don't want to wait.
It's
Why
a
do we gotta wait,
non-competitive
like-
play as it is now. If you're just going to kick it and take it to the 25, eliminate it
what's the
to start at
point?
the 25.
You know, the reason why they'll leave it in is they stick commercials on either side of it half
Yes.
the time, right?
Oh,
So-
there you go. There you go, Russ.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. But like you said, Joe, there could be some desperate move. But yes, it's an absolute.
Oh yeah, you would return it if you're down 2 scores. You've got to
Yeah.
take a shot.
Yeah, but that play shouldn't be in. All right, we go to the Boston Red Sox. Maybe you heard of them. Look, they're playing like a 500 team. 4-game losing streak, 4-game winning streak, 3-game losing streak. I mean, this is who this team is. Okay, I know they're still in the wild card race. I know they're knee deep in it, but it just seems like if you could dump Chris Sale and James Paxton, even just a couple more starts without their arm falling off, I think you have to do it.
Ooh, that's that'd be hard one to swallow if they're selling at this point in the season, especially where Corey Kluber has been a complete bust.
Look, is that a dream if you could get out of Chris Sale's contract?
Does he have much left?
Yeah, he has. Well, he has.
Yeah, a
He's
couple
got
years
30
left.
next year. What he's got left in 30 in the next year, and then he's gone. I mean, it would be a dream, right? To be honest with you, I checked in Trevor Story's contract, where I think lasts till 27. I don't know when can we get rid of him too?
Well, no one's going to take him. They might take Sale.
Russ, can we get rid of Paxton or Sale?
Yeah, yes, if they continue to pitch like this, you're gonna give yourself some options at the deadline. Last year they chose your BFF Chaim, tried to have it both ways at the deadline. And where it's going now, by the way, you know what their win pace is right now?
I'm gonna bet it's 86.
86.022. Right? And that's a problem because 86.022 is not going to be enough to send your BFF Chaim, who has trouble making decisions one way or another, right?
Right.
So if they're out of it, you should be dealing Sale, you should be dealing Paxton, and I've got a couple of other people I'd like to nominate, but we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I know you do.
Now, do you guys think they're playing over their head at this point right now? This thus far in the season, do you think they've overachieved?
Not me, Timmy. Right on the nose for
Yep.
me.
Oh,
86.022.
thanks, Tim. Oh my.
I think they're overachieved. I think they've left their high mark behind them. I think it's downhill from here.
Well, I think the non-balanced the balanced schedule works in the favor of a team like, a 500 type team like the Red Sox. They don't have to play the Rays, the Yankees, and the Orioles as much, and the Jays as much as they had in the past. No more 19 games with the good teams.
Look,
Now
Russ
they
can't
get to
help
play the
himself.
crap.
He's an 86 pace. Duran is 0 for 15. His last 15 up at bat.
So guess what Duran's hitting in the last 16 games? Just
Oh, okay. No, why don't you tell us?
He's hitting, to be exact, 196, right? And his strikeout rate is 28% in the last 16 games.
Very Cassis-like.
Oh, hey, that's blasphemy. Don't you be talking about Cassis like that.
Cassis is more like 140.
Five-tool modern day freak of nature.
His OPS is 564.
What's he batting for the season?
I think he's down to like 330 or something like that.
Okay,
Look,
he's doing fine.
but in all honesty, and this is in all seriousness, now we get to see where Duran is, right?
Yes.
He's hit a bad spot.
Yeah.
If Duran can pull himself out of his bad spot, I'm all in on him.
Yeah.
No, it's not even a bad spot, Russ. It's that, the league takes notice. They have scouts, and they're saying pitch him this guy in a particular way. And
So
if
he can adjust and
adjustments-
he can hit, 280 the rest of the way and play good defense and steal bases. Fine. That's a great value for a major league contract.
The
Right?
pitchers have made an adjustment to him and they've stopped him. Now he has to make it. Let's see if he's got it in him to make the adjustment that he can get back on track. He
Well, at the
can
very
adjust
least,
them.
These guys do though. They just get the book on what he misses and what he
No.
hits, right? And they
Can't
adjust.
keep doing the same.
but at the very least, it's a positive. Duvall comes back. He can go back to center field, and then you can use Duran as a fourth outfielder. And again, that's way more than our expectations were coming into the season. That Duran can contribute. So it's still all good with Duran, but you guys make great points. I mean, obviously, he's struggling at this point. But I mean, Chaim, the whole idea that Chaim might be able to trade Chris Sale is almost like the headline of the season if he was able to eradicate himself from that contract.
He doesn't have a trade. He doesn't have a no trade, does he?
I don't think so.
He probably does. At that level of contract, you usually do.
If you
I
could
don't know.
take someone to pick him up right now, and the Sox are on the hook for half his salary, would you do it?
Yeah, but if he was going to go to a contender, he might, get rid of that clause. He
The
could always
Dodgers,
do that.
Dodgers
He
would
has a
just,
complete no trade clause, so he can veto any potential deal.
okay, but he could
He
be.
has 3 years coming into this year. He had 3 years and 75 million left, so he's got this year and plus 2 more.
You
25.
sure?
Yeah.
No, isn't that the third year team option?
I'll keep going. We'll Well,
Yeah, no, I think it is a team option. Look, I sent you a clip of Mayer last night, Marcelo Mayer hitting 2 home runs. The guy's soon going to be. I mean, he's kicking ass in high A. You just look at the swing. You look, that's the fielding ability. Timmy, he goes to Double A very soon, next couple of weeks. If he plays well there, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he's the starting shortstop for the Boston Red Sox next year at opening day.
He's smooth as butter, isn't he? I mean, the kid's got great mechanics.
Beautiful swing.
You can see what they like in him. But do you know, these baseball guys, boy, you really got to bring them along. You know, I don't know. It's like no other
stud
sport,
guys.
you
You
know?
don't.
The hockey guys, you throw right out of college. These football players, they're right in the mix. These baseball guys, they're like delicate china or something. You know, they have to be brought along at the right pace, or they can destroy them. It seems like.
And Heim his biggest fault has been bringing guys up too early. He has been pushing the envelope with these guys, and it hasn't worked.
Why is it that this is one of the only sports that really applies to? You know, basketball, you see these kids come right. Maybe basketball, you know, that first year, that thing right out of high school wasn't working too good. But baseball, you know, you see guys 24, 25 years old, they just finally figure it out for some
that's a great question.
Scotty, to me, it's like, do they have a team in which it makes sense to rush him? Or do they have a team where it just doesn't make sense? Like, why would you rush him onto a team that's going to win, let's call it 86 games,
6 games,
right?
yeah.
Like, you know, unless you really think you can, you know, he can help you win a pennant, I wouldn't rush him. I'd give him all the time to bake that he needs.
I think there's certain guys like the Devers, the Bogarts and stuff that, you know.
Sure, and I totally agree. If he goes to Double A and performs his ass off, he may be a Rafi Devers or a Xander Bogaerts. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, Mookie came right from Double A.
He did too. Yeah.
Well, he just looks like he has all the optics, and that's what
He's in top 5 prospects in America.
3 now. He's moved to 3.
Yeah.
Remember, his fielding plays at high A or the major leagues. He's a lot better fielder than Kiki Hernandez. Would you give me that right now? I mean, he's a better shortstop right now, fielding wise.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it.
Look, I want to see these studs up. I like to see it. I don't mind. I think Tristan Casas is a lot better off in the major leagues learning than sitting there in Worcester. Would you agree?
Yeah,
He wouldn't be sitting there in Worcester, he'd be
there
playing
last
every
year.
day.
Yeah, he played there last year, so I don't know. I don't have a problem with Casas being on the major league team. Right?
How old is Casas? How old is Casas?
Maybe what, 22, 23?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Look at Bobby Dahlbeck is like batting like 360 now in Worcester. That shows you what Worcester is about. I mean,
we've always said Bobby Dahlbeck is like a tremendous bad pitcher hitter.
yeah,
You put him against good pitchers, he folds up.
he's 4A player, right, Russ?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, he's always, he'll come up, cup of coffee, won't do anything special, go down, rake there. He's Frenchie Cordero.
You know, you'd see it in the playoffs as soon as the pitching, you know, you're looking at better pitching in the playoffs. He would just go away. He would just vanish.
Yeah.
By the way, Franchi got let go by the Yankees.
Oh, they did.
He's no longer a Yankee.
They got a few good games out of him, though.
Oh, yeah, he came out hot as a pistol.
They could have just called him Frenchie. Why'd they call him Franchi? You know?
I have no idea.
Just to bother you, Tim.
All right, we're going down the Bruins road. First of all, Panthers. Is it any consolation to know that the Panthers might win the Stanley Cup?
It is a little bit.
In
Yeah.
some ways, yes.
It is.
You know?
Yeah.
Kachuk can do it to others too.
Well, so this kind of makes the Blues win in 19. The Panthers, if they win in 23, does the regular season in the NHL mean anything?
Maybe not.
Good question.
Maybe not.
You know, I would really push for some reward for the teams with the top 4 record getting some type of. I mean, obviously, I'm saying this as a
Get a
Bruins.
bye.
Some type of reward for a regular season. You know?
I don't know what you do, Timmy, because it doesn't appear that home ice advantage. I don't know the stats. That means that much that the only thing you would do is you would weight it. You'd make 5 home games in a 7-game series to the team with a better record. You do that, but would that affect things? That
Well, I almost feel like for the bottom guys that just make it in, maybe have a 3 out of 5 qualifying thing to get in or something.
Well, that would take this.
I know, but there has to be some reward for setting the all-time record for wins, and then you go into the meat grinder with the rest of the group.
I agree. I don't know how you do it, but this definitely they got to change the rules.
Well, the seeding is supposed to do that. You get to play the 8th best team.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't work out.
So Timmy, my big question, the hot rumor this week and last week was, do you trade Ullmark?
I would.
Yeah.
I think Swayman's ready to take the
Totally.
reins, and I think we gave up a lot of draft picks, loading up this year, and I think
Try to get them back.
give us some money back to sign some of these guys, and I don't see a big trade off between. I don't know who's next in line. It's the number 3 goalie right now. But
Bruins fans going to be happy losing your top goalie, the Vezina, a trophy winner for draft picks.
Well,
I don't know.
I'd be surprised if we saw that kind of performance.
Remember, it's draft picks in cap space. I mean, honestly, I think you're trading him as much to create space on the cap too. I think
He gets like $5 million.
Didn't we get the best out of Ullmark? I mean, do we really think Linus Ullmark is going to be the same goalie or better next year?
I don't know. It's just when you have that goaltending depth and you have these riches.
Well, we went into the playoffs thinking that was our ace in the hole, right? The goaltending.
So he's the guy. He's the scapegoat for the.
Well, if we didn't have Swayman sitting there, I wouldn't not even be discussing it. But I think Swayman's ready to.
Boy, that Bobrovsky has been awesome.
Name one guy, a surprise guy that could leave the Bruins.
Leave the Bruins.
Be traded.
DeBrusque.
Hall
for Joe.
DeBrusque. I think it's Ullmark. If I'm
No, but all right, let's go beyond Ullmark. Give me some.
Carlo.
Okay.
Yeah, a big young defenseman. He'd be, attractive to a lot of teams.
Grizzly.
I think Coyle.
No. They
hope
need
not, 'cause
centers. They can't
like
trade
watching-
centers.
I like watching his wife walk to her seat.
You need centers. To Joe's point, I mean, we don't have enough centers.
If Krejci's gone and maybe, Bergie gone, you need centers.
Wait, is Krejci gone? What is he waiting for?
Well,
They'll
who
wait.
knows?
They waited last year. Remember, they both waited a long time last year.
Yeah.
I mean,
Everybody wants to see.
they both
I mean, he's
played
not
for
coming
like-
back if Bergeron's not coming back. This
They
whole
both
thing.
played
rests
for
on
like
Bergeron.
they both played for like free last year, right?
Yeah.
Close, yeah.
Hey, do I get any
Krejci was
love?
only $1 million.
Do I get any love for hating Krejci from his terrible playoff run?
No.
He was awful.
Krejci was the
He
least
was
of the.
disgusting.
Krejci was the least of the problems in this playoffs. The
Yeah,
defense.
but they shouldn't have
crapped the
played
bed
him.
and
Shouldn't have
He's
played
done.
him.
He was hurt. He and Bergie shouldn't have played. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, they fell apart as soon
They
as
were
those
better
two
off
came
without
back.
them.
I
Wait
just
until
don't
they
even
get
know how
better.
these guys physically do it. I've mentioned this before. That regular season just grinds them down, man. I think
Especially when Bergie got hurt in the last game there.
I know.
What did Hampus have broken?
Foot.
Foot. He
He
had a
got
broken
fractured
foot. No wonder he was terrible.
He was terrible.
Well, see how you
Hard
can
to play
play
hockey
NHL hockey
hard
with
to
a
play
broken
hockey
foot.
with a broken foot.
Oh my God.
You shoot it up.
A lot of Toradol. lot of Toradol.
All right. Well, boys, it's going to be a very difficult offseason for the Boston Bruins. I don't know. It's a lot of negativity in the Bruins camp right now. And I just think that the regular season for the Bruins has been devalued. Would you agree?
Well, the playoffs were short and sweet. The Celtics are actually grinding us into the ground.
They're finishing it up. All right. Well, next week, boys, we'll be will Game 7 ever happen by now?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It's Wednesday. It's Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday.
Oh, okay. So we'll be able to talk about the NBA Finals and the preview of the Boston Celtics versus the Denver Nuggets.
I admire your optimism, Scott.
Run that parlay
One at a time.
one at a time.
So
All right, boys.
I'm imagine. So you're betting on the Celtics. You've got a bet in. You bet cold hard cash on the Celtics winning the series.
I unfortunately
No, I
had
I have cold hard cash on the Celtics winning the championship. Yeah, very big
But
amount.
right now, are you going to bet on the Celtics to win the series?
What is the spread? Wait, what's the spread for Game 5? Who's favored?
Celtics are favored.
Celtics by like 7.5, I think.
They're always favored. They've been.
Yeah.
I think they've been favored. Maybe they weren't favored yesterday, but it was
I
pretty
think they were.
close.
Yeah, they were the dogs yesterday.
I think Celtics going to win. I really do. I think that they're a lot better team. And again, the Heat suck. They just suck.
But the Heat only have to win one game.
I don't
That's
know
the
what.
problem.
I don't know. Look, they're a hot team. They're going to go back to earth right now. They suck. They're not a very good team. I'm not worried about them. The Celtics, they play half decent. Should beat the. Again, it's 3-1 now. Who gives a shit about 3-0? That doesn't mean anything anymore. I was going to tell. I think I said this. Said I would be confident if the Celtics were down 3-1 in this series. I told you that. I said that I would still be confident. They're down 3-1. Celtics going to win it. It's pretty much over. Parlay it right now. I'll check.
The Heat aren't so bad. They've been in
They
the finals.
suck. Come on, Joe.
They've
go
been
to
in the conference finals 3 of the last 4 years, right?
They'd be the only team. What did you see that Sean Grandy posting? I know
The
you
8
follow
seed
Russ.
since
The one-
what? The 78.
No, they'd be the only team in the history of the NBA with they would get to the finals with a negative point differential during the regular season.
Okay, that's different.
I think that. I think. Have you seen that, you guys? Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen that one. That's a different
They'd be
stat.
the only team ever to do that.
And that's because they have the best coach in the NBA.
Yeah.
Right. And
That
not
that
by
that
him.
shows
I
it
think
up right there. That
I think
shows
he's
it up right there.
nervous. I think he's nervous. He's like, we need to win.
I don't think Spoelstra's nervous going up against Joe Mads.
And
I really
Jimmy
don't think
Butler
he is.
isn't nervous. Did you see him after the game? They
Oh,
say,
fuck
"Are you
him.
nervous?" La 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 la.
Fuck him. Fuck him, the piece of shit. I can't stand all of them. I fucking hate all of them. Fat fucking Lowry, Jimmy fucking Butler.
I thought you
all
liked
of
Max
them
Strus.
Hey Timmy, it took us an hour and 1 minute to get Scotty to blow his stack. This is beautiful.
Bolster and his fucking helmet
Dropping-
haircut. Fuck
Dropping
him.
F-bombs.
Fuck all
This
of
is
them.
perfect.
Miami, the worst fucking sports town of all time. Fuck them all. Fuck them. This is it. It's done. Jimmy Butler knows he's done. He can drink all his fucking beer for the rest of his fucking life because he's going to have as a fucking tattoo on his forehead that they 03. This is going to happen, boys. I'm telling you. Next week is a start of
you're
fucking
killing me.
ration. All right. Well, that's our show.
I hope you're
tonight.
right.
We broke Scotty. We broke him.
Please thank you, fellas, for the show. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Wednesday night at 6:30 for our NBA Finals preview. For the Boston Celtics versus the Denver Nuggets. My name is Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.